Hi cuties! I hope you guys are doing so well. I am very excited for this video because today I'm going to be taking nail designs that you guys drew for me and I'm going to be trying to recreate them in real life on my nails. This super fun concept of subscribers draw my nails was brought to YouTube by beautiful, iconic nail queen Emily Susanna. She has a whole playlist of I think like 20 plus episodes of subscribers draw my nails on her channel. So a few of you have been asking me to do subscribers draw my nails on my channel, and although I've done one episode of it in the past, I didn't really feel comfortable making it into a series on my channel without asking Emily's permission first, because I didn't want to just like steal her thing, you know what I'm saying? Just felt wrong. So I actually reached out to her and asked her if she would be comfortable with me creating this series on our channel as well, and she was so sweet and she kindly gave me the permission to make subscribers draw my nails a series. So big thanks to Emily Susanna. As a beginner nail YouTuber, I really look up to Emily Susanna, so you guys should definitely go check out her videos. Although I'm sure there's at least a handful of you guys who excitedly clicked on this video hoping to see Emily Susanna, and then you saw me and you were like, what is this? Anyway, you guys submitted some epic designs, so without further ado, let's get into the subscribers draw my nails, shall we? At the beginning of Emily's videos, she usually shouts out like a few nail designs that she really liked but didn't choose to recreate. But since I didn't get that many designs submitted, I thought that maybe I can just like play as many of them as possible for you guys right here. So if you're not aware of how subscribers draw my nails works, basically I took a picture of my little baby hands without any nails on, and I gave it to you guys in a community tab post so that you could draw a set of nails on for me, whether that be through downloading it and drawing on your iPad, phone, computer. And in that same community tab post, there was a Google Forms link, and in that Google form is where you would have submitted your design if you made one. So thank you so much to all of you who submitted a design. I really appreciate it, especially because I posted that community tab post back in July and it's fall now. So if you haven't been here long or you haven't been keeping up with me, it just so happened that right after I posted that community tab post saying that I was going to do subscribers draw my nails, I adopted 2 kittens, and that was a lot for a month. And then right after that kind of settled down, my mental health went into a downward spiral. So it was just a little crazy there for a minute, and I really didn't want to sit down and do this video until I was like truly feeling like myself and I could put 100% of my effort into it, because I want to do you guys' designs justice. So here we are. The first set that I'm going to be recreating is this super pretty fairy core set by Bethy. I really love this set because I feel like there's a lot of design aspects that are like totally my style and my vibe, but they used a color palette that I would have like ever necessarily thought to use for a fairy core set. Is more like summer vibes, and I always just think of fairy core as like pink and green and blue. I'm really excited to recreate this set, so let's get into the first set. So first we have to start by putting some tips on, and in the drawing the tips look like extra long almond. So I'm going to use these Gel X full cover tips in the sculpted extra almond. I really like this shape. This is definitely my favorite shape of nail tip that I own, so thank you for choosing this shape. So I'm going to size these all out, and I'm going to quickly etch them with this acid-free primer. This acid-free primer that I'm using, I bought it from Temu, but every single time I go to link it, it's either out of stock or it says it's currently unavailable. So I'll look for it on Amazon or AliExpress or Shein, but the brand is Aokitek. I've been using this acid-free primer for a really long time, like probably a year now, and I really like it, so I definitely feel comfortable recommending it to you. But you know, different products work differently for everyone, so if it doesn't work, don't get mad at me. I'm going to be doing this set on my right hand, since the next set that I'm going to do requires a little bit more dexterity, and I would like to do that with my dominant hand. So I've got my usual hard gel protective base layer on there with the top coat on, because I did put this protective base layer on yesterday and I wanted to keep it safe between yesterday and today. And usually before I go in with the tips or any other product, I remove the top coat, but one of you guys commented on my last video telling me that you saw a girl on TikTok use used the Jello peel off base coat on top of her hard gel layer, but she kept a top coat on her hard gel layer and that worked for her. That's always been my issue. Like, I cannot use Jello on top of my hard gel base layer without actually like ripping off my actual nail. So I think I'm gonna give that a try today because I really do want to keep these nails that are like you guys' designs. I'd feel kind of bad filing them away. So I've got my Jello peel off base coat. This one is from Sweetie Nail Supply. And I'm not going to do anything to the top coat. I'm just going to wipe off all of my nails with some isopropyl alcohol because I did put some lotion on my hands before I started filming so that y'all didn't have to look at my dry, crusty hands the whole time. So I just want to make sure that none of the lotion is on my nails because that could affect how they stick on. And I don't want anything popping off before I'm finished filming this video. That would be sad. And I'm just going to apply a nice generous layer of the Jello peel off base coat over my entire nail bed.
Why does the sunlight feel like a stranger? It's like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head.
Okay, now that I've got that Jello peel off base coat on there, hopefully it didn't change the shape of my nail too much because I sized out my tips without it on and the Jello peel off is pretty thick, but it does look like the tips still fit, so epic. This base gel is super sticky after you give it a full cure. So instead of wiping off the sticky layer, I'm just gonna take out my gooseneck lamp real quick, which is motion activated. And I'm gonna put on these tips with my Beetles nail glue gel in a tube. I really like this one in a squeezy tube. Definitely recommend it if you are looking for a good nail glue gel. It actually lasts a really long time. I mean, the longest I've ever kept my nails on before taking them off was like 4 weeks and they lasted a really long time. And there was no lifting, so yeah. So I gave that a full cure, and before I file them a little bit to make sure that the cuticle area is all clean and everything and get rid of any extra spillage of gel, I'm just going to quickly etch the underbellies of all the tips and apply a top coat because I just want to keep it clean from here on out. And now that the top coat is fully cured, I'm going to take my e-file and my small round cuticle bit. With my file on speed 4, I'm just going to carefully go around the cuticles and sidewalls of the tips and make sure that there's no gel that's spilling out and just kind of flush everything out. I'm really not going to file too much because we have that Jello peel off base coat underneath there and I don't want to file into it or make them pop off prematurely. I am obsessed with these nail tips. Oh my goodness. They look so good. Now that we finally got on the tips, we can finally get into the nail art. Here's a reminder of the set that I'm going to be recreating first. And since this is drawn on a picture of my left hand and I'm going to be recreating it on my right hand, I flipped the image and made a copy so that I can refer to this one and not get like confused and turned around. Then I can flip back to this one if I need to read any of the notes. So I'll just have that open. I'm really excited about this set because I feel like the colors match perfectly with the new Neon Pudding Pastel Neon Syrup gels that I just got from Sweetie Nail Supply. Here is the swatch card if you needed a reminder of what those look like, but I feel like these colors are perfect for this set. So I'm mostly going to be using these, but they also made a note that I should of course make everything glittery, which I have zero problems with. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use them in combination with this set because these ones are also like a set of very similar colors, except they're more translucent and they have glitters in them. Like, see? Oh, so pretty. So I think that the combination of these gels and the pastel neon gels are going to be perfect. Okay, so let's start with the thumb. On the thumb, the base is like a pastel purple color with it looks like sort of a milky white star on top with a rhinestone in the middle. Don't actually have like a true purple color in this collection, in either collections actually. So let me see what else I have. Okay, I immediately found this Lilac Madness color by Nail Reserve, which I think is going to work perfectly. So I didn't buff all of the tips like I usually do, so what I'm gonna do instead is actually just quickly prime them with some of this acid-free primer. Just real quick, nothing like super serious. I just don't really like to work directly on top of the smooth tip. I just feel like the gel is going to peel off. I just like to make sure it's all nice and primed. And then going in with the first layer of the purple. I think this might be opaque enough for just one layer. Wow, look at that coverage. That was actually so impressive. So pretty. I love that color. In the drawing, I feel like the star is not completely white. I feel like it has like the smallest tint of purple to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to mix some of this white gel polish with a little drop of the same purple that I used. This color actually looks very similar to the same color that they used on the ring finger as part of the ombre. I'm kind of debating whether it is purple or if it's pink or if it's just white. But I think we're just gonna stick to this for now, and we'll see when we get to the ring finger. Colors are kind of tricky, especially when they're on top of other colors, because you perceive colors differently depending on like the background that they're presented on. So yeah, it's kind of tricky because like on the thumb it looks purple, but then on the ring finger it looks pink, but I feel like they're the same color. Hopefully if I use slightly the wrong colors, it's not too disappointing. It took me a pretty long time to be happy with that, and I don't know if I am completely happy with it, but I'm happy with it enough to move on. So in the drawing, there is a rhinestone in the center of the star. In the drawing, it looks like it's just like a regular like circle rhinestone, but I think I'm gonna take a little bit of creative liberty here and I'm gonna make it a little star rhinestone, because I think that it will just kind of like bring the whole nail together, since I didn't exactly do an amazing job of drawing the star, especially because it was with my opposite hand. So I'm gonna put this little purple star rhinestone in the center of the star that I drew using a little bit of my McCart rhinestone glue gel, and I'm just gonna use my little brush to smooth out all of the rhinestone glue gel around the star because I don't want it to be too lumpy. And I'm gonna flash cure it on there. I'm not gonna lie, I almost forgot about putting glitter on this nail, but I think I'm gonna use this milky white glitter gel polish from the In the Mood for Love collection by Yogurt Nail. And I'm gonna try to make the layer really thin because I don't want the milkiness to affect the color too much, but let's see if it's gonna work. I do feel like the star kind of gets merged in with the lighter purple color. Since they didn't really specify exactly what should be glittery, they just said to make it glittery, I think I'm gonna wipe off that layer and I'm going to reapply the glitter, but only to the star. I think that will keep everything from like merging together. I am much happier with that. So now I'm just gonna put on a quick top coat. They didn't specify matte or glossy, but I'm assuming since they want everything glittery that it should be shiny. Just heard the weirdest sound outside. It sounded like someone was like firing a machine gun in the distance. Like, okay, that was concerning. Anyway, so the next nail has this really pretty like soft pink base, and I think that this color is perfect for it. So I'm gonna start with 1 or 2 layers of this. Yeah, this gel is actually gonna need like 3 or 4 layers, I think, to get to the color I want it to be. May not have been the best choice now that I'm thinking about it, but it's fine. So that ended up being 3 layers, and I'm not even mad about it because it is such a pretty color. I actually really like how soft it looks also. Also, I apologize. I think there's gonna be an air show at the Navy base soon, and so like the Blue Angels, the Jets, they are practicing right now, and it just sounds like continuous thunder outside, so I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background. They noted on the drawing that the heart and the stars are both glitter sequins, so I grabbed these out. The heart in the drawing is a white heart, so I think I'm gonna use one of these ones. Although most of the bigger ones have kind of like the little cutout in the middle, but I do think that a bigger one would work better. I don't know if they meant these glitter sequins or the bigger glitter sequins with the holes in the middle, meaning these ones. I think they meant these ones, so I'm gonna go with these ones. And in the drawing, the stars are white, but I don't have any white glitter sequins, so I'm just gonna go with the next best thing, which is like this purpley pink color. And they're so hollow, like you can barely even tell what the actual color is because of how reflective and rainbow they are. Oh, I forgot to put the layer of glittery gel. We have to do that first. So I'm gonna use this one. It's got like a really pretty blue reflection in it. Just gonna do 1 layer of that over the whole nail. So pretty. I feel like the blue reflections really complement the purple colors in this set. And now I can go ahead and put the little heart glitter on there. And I'm actually going to draw on the yellow details before I put on the star glitters because I want to make sure that the star glitters aren't going to be too big. And if I need to, I'll just use some smaller star glitters. I just want to make sure that there's enough room to draw on the yellow designs. So I'm going to use my D-Gel liner gel. To be honest, I think this yellow, I don't know if this yellow is going to be a little too dark. Just so that I'm like accurate, I'm going to mix the yellow one with a tiny bit of the white liner gel. Okay, I think that color is a lot more accurate. So now I'm just going to use my little liner brush to try to recreate this cool looking design. I thought this little design around the heart was so unique. I'm just going to try to really just follow the contour of the heart glitter. It's going to be really hard for me to do this without sticking my head into the frame. So sorry in advance if that happens. The white heart sort of blends into the nail a little bit. I think just because of all the reflections from the glitter and stuff. But I think it'll look really good like outside in the sun. This is honestly so much harder to do with my non-dominant hand than I thought it was going to be. And I'm so glad there's no more hand-drawn nail art in this set after this nail.
We'll stay for a lifetime, fall in love for the last time. 'Cause I want stability and more light. By my side, fall in love.
A lot of like the small details ended up happening off camera because it was so hard to get all those like lines and spaces right with my non-dominant hand without it being like 1 millimeter away from my eyeball, but I think it turned out pretty good. I think that these stars are actually going to be a little too big now. You know what? I think I could put one of these stars and then one of the small ones, and I think that would look really cute. So like both of these two. So I'm gonna do that again with a tiny bit of my McCart rhinestone glue gel. I think another little star glitter would actually fit really well on there. And then I'm going to flash cure it before putting the top coat on just so it doesn't move around a bunch. And I'm going to put a layer of the same clear glossy top coat. And this top coat is really thick, so it's perfect for going over all of the glitter sequins. I mean, it won't completely encapsulate them, but it'll make them nice and secure. After that one, I am very much looking forward to this next nail, which is just a super simple light lilac purple color and some butterfly charms. So that should be pretty easy to do, hopefully, although I might find a way to make it hard. So I'm just gonna use this really pretty, I think this color would be lavender. I'm just gonna use this pastel lavender color because I realized it's really similar to the one that I mixed up, and I think it's perfect. Since the color they drew on the middle finger does seem to be a little bit lighter than the one that they drew on the thumb, I'm actually so impressed with how opaque and how amazing the coverage is of this gel polish, considering it's like a super affordable brand from Shein. I know I use a lot of Korean gel polishes because I have them, but just know that there are a lot of really good affordable options on like Shein and Amazon and stuff. Like this one I'm pretty sure was only like $1.50 at most, and I'm very impressed. Like that's only one coat. Amazing. But of course we do have to make it glittery, and I'm curious to see what will happen to the color if I use this more like blue tinted glitter gel polish. So let's try it and find out. I don't even think it really changed the color of the purple very much. At least I can't tell. And it has like these really cute sort of like orangey yellowish reflections, which I think complements this yellow nail art really well. So I'm gonna cure that. Okay, so here are the butterfly charms that I picked out. This really pretty one with like this like stone crystal texture to it for the center, because I noticed that in the drawing the center one is a little bit bigger. And then this one also has like a little mini butterfly attached to it, so I think that will be perfect. And then I'll probably be able to fit one or two of these other ones on as well. So I'm gonna start with this big butterfly charm. And whenever I'm putting on pretty heavy charms, I actually like to use this clear non-stick nail gel instead of just regular rhinestone glue gel, so that the charm doesn't just like start sliding around while I'm trying to position it. Oh no, was this sitting upside down? Probably was at some point. Okay, this big tub is from Born Pretty. I will link it down in my description box below. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this, not too much, because if you use too much then it's gonna make the nail look lumpy. And I'm gonna put it right in the middle where I want the charm to be. And I've actually found that when I'm applying smooth charms like this into the solid non-stick nail glue gel, it's a lot easier to place them if I first put some acid-free primer on the back of the charm, because it kind of adds like a sticky layer to the charm that just helps it stick into the gel better. And that should just make it a lot easier to stick it exactly where I want it. Perfect. I think that I'm actually also going to glue down the dangly part of the charm. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I like how that sits on my nail with like this big ring sticking out. It would have to be more like that. I don't really think that matches the drawing pretty well, so I'm actually going to skip this one for now. I do still think that it would be really pretty for the center one to be like a big crystal though, so I'm going to use this pink crystal butterfly instead. I think I can fit about like 2, maybe 3 more butterfly charms on here. They didn't really specify exactly what the charms should look like or the colors. I'm just kind of assuming that it's like a stencil of a butterfly to show that I can pick whichever butterfly charms I want to use, but I hope that me picking the charms is okay. So that's it for this nail. So I'm just gonna put a top coat over everything except for the big butterfly crystal. I think it looks even prettier with a top coat on. So on the ring finger, there's an ombre from the pink to like a milky white color. I'm assuming it's a milky white because it's not like a super stark white. So that should be really easy to do with these 2 gels. I'm going to use the same pink that I used before and then this new milky white that I got that is now my favorite milky white of all time. And I am still prepping my nails with my acid-free primer before every single gel application. This primer is at like the very bottom though. I don't know if you could tell. And I think it has like little crusties in it that are like getting on my nail when I use it. So I think it's going to be time to switch to my new one soon. I'm going to create this ombre with my ombre brush and it's probably going to take about 2 to 3 coats again. So let's just get to it. Also, I'm like, sorry, I've always mentioned them, but I'm like hyper aware of the noises around me and like outside. So somebody's using a leaf blower like really close to my house, and if you can hear it, I'm sorry, but I can't stop and wait until it's over because I've got something to do after this, so we must push on. So now for the 3D orchid flower, I think I want to add some cute little like flower details underneath on the nail before I sculpt the petals on top. I've seen a couple people do that before and I've never done it that way, so I want to try it. And I think that this like super vibrant jelly pink might be really pretty to create the details because I don't want them to be like too in your face. I just want them to be kind of subtle. By the way, the last time I checked on Shein, which is where I got this one from, it was out of stock. So if it's in stock, I'll link it down below, but just a heads up. And I'm just gonna try to create some simple little orchid looking designs, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing, but I'm kind of just going for it. So actually, I think that was a bit too light. You could like barely even see it. So I'm gonna try using this one instead, which is a bit more of like a purpley tinted pink color, but I think it should be a little bit more easy to see. And nope, just as hard to see. Great. I guess I'll just try to use the same purple that I used on my thumb. That way it kind of stays more cohesive, and this one's pretty opaque, so I know it should definitely show up. Yeah, that's good enough for me. I honestly don't need it to be too in your face, so I'm just gonna create some little lines here and there. Nothing too crazy. It's showing up a lot better in person. I feel like on camera it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. I totally forgot to add some glitter to this one. So I think I'm just gonna take this same one with like the blue reflex in it that I used on the pointer finger, and I'm just going to apply it to only like the purple part of the flower. I think that will look really cute. I do appreciate the way this person gave me like the creative liberty to like choose which charms to use and where to put glitter and stuff like that. And actually, instead of just putting it on like the purple parts, I kind of want to put it on the whole area of the nail that there's gonna be a petal. So definitely not being super precise. So I'm gonna roll out the 3D nonstick gel on this palette, but I got this palette in my last Sweet Nail Supply haul, which was actually my last video. I was saying in the video that I could not find the transparent film that was over it, so I thought there wasn't one, and one of you guys commented saying that there was one, and I spent forever trying to find it, and I just found it, so this is about to be so satisfying. That is so much prettier without that stupid film on it. I'm just gonna wipe it off with some isopropyl alcohol just to make sure it's nice and clean, even though I did just take off the protective film, so there's really no reason it should be dirty. I'm gonna get out a nice decent sized chunk of this solid gel. Hopefully it doesn't stick to this too much. Oh, is it gonna stick? No, it's gonna stick. Oh, that's not gonna work. So we'll have to roll it out on this instead. So first I roll it into a ball, and then I roll it into kind of a chubby snake, like so. I've got a little chubby snake, and I'm gonna cut that chubby snake into 4 sections. Preferably equal sections, but I don't think that was very equal. And I'm gonna roll each of those sections into a little ball. I know it's hard to see because they're on a white background, so I'm gonna take a little sphere of gel, and I'm gonna stick it at the top where I want the petal to start, if it would like to stick down. I think I need to add a little bit of primer to my nail so that it makes it a little bit easier to stick the solid nail glue gel on there. Sometimes if the surface of the nail isn't sticky enough, it just refuses to stay on there. This stuff is so stubborn. And now I'm just gonna kind of push down in the center towards the middle to try to make it look like a little petal. That was really bad. Why was that so bad? This solid gel is literally being so infuriating because it's so bubbly, it's so sticky, but then it's not wanting to stick to my nail for some reason. And it's kind of driving me insane. Okay, I'm switching tools to my little silicone tool. Feel like it's so like lopsided and just like not good. I think I'm gonna redo it. I hate it. I'm redoing it. Okay, I'm not completely happy with that, but I think it's a little bit better, so we're moving on. And in the drawing, they said to put a rhinestone in the middle, so I think I'm gonna use just like the biggest size of these regular crystal pointed back rhinestones, because I feel like a pointed back rhinestone would fit inside the solid gel really, really well. Okay, I think that's good. I'm gonna cure it. So I went ahead and top coated that one after it was fully cured. So on to the last nail for this set. So the last nail is a really pretty like orangish yellow to pink sort of like sunset sort of looking ombre. At least it reminds me of a sunset, and I think it's so pretty, with some 3D droplet nail art and also a couple little AB pearls, which I have. I think for the orange, it would be best if I mixed both of these colors together. This one's definitely just too orange, but this one is way too yellow. I'm just going to mix together a little bit of each of them. I feel like a mixture of them would be perfect. Okay, I think that's good. So I'm gonna ombre that with the same pink I've been using the whole time. I love how easy it is to blend transparent colors into each other. It's definitely gonna need a couple coats at least though. But I almost feel like the time that I don't have to spend trying to get the ombre right, because it's so easy, makes up for the fact that I have to do multiple layers. And my pin cure light ran out of battery. So that ended up being 3 coats of the yellow and only 2 coats of the pink, and I think it looks perfect. Granted, it's a lot more like milky and translucent than the picture, but I think it's all right. I think it's good. So I think I'm gonna put this glittery gel over it because it's tinted like milky pink, but it has these really pretty orange reflections in it. Like you can tell better when it's like blurred like that. So I think this should look really pretty. Hopefully it doesn't make the yellow look too similar to the pink or anything like that. Ooh, I think it's actually perfect. This like yellow to pink combination is something I would never think to do. I think a lot of people like the yellow and pink color combo, but it's just like a color combination that I just never think of because I'm not really fond of yellow on me personally, but I love how that looks. That's so cute. I'm gonna cure that. On the drawing, they specified to use rhinestone gel for the drop 3D art, but I think what would work even better for that is my new zigzag gel. So I have the clear one. I actually got this clear one in my first haul, so not my most recent one, although I got a lot of other colors of the zigzag gel in my most recent one. And I'm gonna use my liner brush to do this because I feel like it's a lot easier to control and get your desired look when you use the liner brush. Just grab a nice large glob and then place it on the nail and drag lightly. It's definitely a bit hard to see what you're doing when you're using a clear solid gel. So what I find is helpful is to look at my nail from the side like this so you can really see what's going on. And at last, the little pearls. There's like one right here and one like right here. And I'm gonna have to make them really small ones so that they can actually fit. One thing I always struggle with is like making the proportions correct. I feel like they should be a little bigger actually.
Like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head.
And finally, the top coat, which I'm gonna be careful about not letting pool too much between the little water drops because that'll like take away from their dimension, if you know what I'm saying. That would have been the last top coat, except there is something that is bothering me about this set. I feel like it's not like accurately representing the picture they drew for some reason. And I think it's because the middle finger with like the blue butterflies on it is such like a prominent part of the drawing. And I made the big butterfly in the middle pink. So I think I'm actually going to remove this. And I'm just going to replace it with this blue butterfly charm because it's like the only big blue butterfly charm that I have. Actually, wait, I forgot about these butterfly charms that I haven't organized yet, but they're so cute in like 3D. I'm gonna use one of these. Definitely this one. Okay, this shouldn't be too difficult. Hopefully I don't have to do like filing or anything. Just gonna try to remove as much of the solid gel as I can just with these like nippers. Gonna put a nice big glob of rhinestone glue gel and a butterfly. And then I'm actually going to try reapplying the top coat just around the rhinestone glue gel that I put, because in the past when I've tried reapplying top coats on top of top coats that are already on, it usually causes the new top coat to start peeling off. So yeah, I'm just going to top coat around the charm and then on top of the charm as well. Finally, here is the first completed set. Thank you so much, Bethy, for submitting this design. I really enjoyed recreating it and I really hope that I did it justice. I'm gonna go film the comparison outside in the sun right now so that I can show you guys side by side the finished result versus the drawing. But I will show you that after we do the second set. So speaking of the second set, let's get into our next design. The second set that I'm going to be recreating is this adorable pond theme set submitted by Rachel. In her submission, she mentioned that she got inspo for this set from the frog cakes, which I think I've seen a few of them on Pinterest, but I'm not like completely sure what those would look like. But I know that this set is adorable. And the fact that she added the little touch of saying that the frogs are in love, so they should be facing each other, just like I could not resist doing this set, even though I feel like it's gonna be a lot of work. And I was honestly considering picking a different one that I thought wouldn't be as challenging or like laborious to do, but I just couldn't resist doing this one. It's too cute, so let's get into it. So for the base, they said that it's a jelly blue with glitter on top or chrome for the water effect. I think it'll actually look really cool if I mixed my own jelly blue acrylic with glitter inside. And I really miss making custom acrylics. So let's mix up a custom acrylic. I just feel like I'll be able to get like the jelly blue glittery look a lot better if I just mix up a color. I think we'll just go with a little bit of this one. I feel like it's like the truest blue. And since it has so much pigment, we'll only have to put a tiny bit for it to be jelly. And then I think I'll add some of this. And then I think I'll add some of this iridescent white glitter just to add a little bit more sparkle. And if I feel like it, maybe just a dash of this one to add a little bit more variation in the glitter. Y'all know that I like packing my custom acrylics with a lot of glitter. You can never have too much glitter. Ever. Okay. And then of course we're going to need the jar to put the custom acrylic in. And then I'm going to be using this clear from Amazon. It's like the cheapest bulk clear acrylic that I've found on there. And then to grind up the chalk, I'm actually going to use my old e-file because grinding up a lot of chalk with your e-file will eventually ruin it. So I would not recommend using a super high-end e-file to do so. So I'm going to start by grinding up a little bit of the chalk into my little container. And I'm going to do this with my dust collector running because I don't really want little specks of chalk floating around my room for me to breathe in. And I'm also going to be wearing a mask just for extra protection. You should always kind of do that when you're filing things or grinding things up really fine, because just like breathing that stuff into your lungs over a long period of time is really not the best thing for them. So I made sure to only put a little bit because we are going to get some blue from the glitters as well. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of this glitter. And honestly, you can't really go overboard with the glitter, so yeah, a dash of this glitter and a little sprinkle of this fine white one. And then finally, I'm going to fill it up to the top with the clear acrylic since I want to make sure that there's a much larger ratio of acrylic to blue pigment because this one is supposed to be transparent. And to mix everything together, I'm actually just going to put this little stopper on here and I'm going to hold it really tight and I'm going to shake it because I find that just holding it tight like this and shaking it is a lot more secure than putting the actual cap back on and shaking it. Whenever I'm going to be working with monomer, I like to take out one of these dental bibs because this shiny part of them is waterproof, so that just keeps the monomer and stuff from getting on my tabletop. And take out my acrylic brush. I'm going to be using my Panna brush in number 10. And for my dapping dish, I just use a little airtight small mason jar and some EMA liquid monomer from Not Polish. Why have I actually missed the smell of monomer? I feel like I haven't done acrylic in a minute. All right, let's swatch this bad boy. I actually found my swatch sticks. Not that I'm going to use them very often, but I think that this one needs to be on a swatch stick. I feel like it looks a bit cloudy. Like I'm not getting the water effect from it. I think it would definitely be a bit disappointing if I used this one. I feel like it needs to be a lot like deeper of a blue, so I'm gonna try to add a little bit of this one. Actually, hold up. Y'all were telling me that I should use chalk pastels instead of the sidewalk chalk because it has a lot more pigment, and I was cleaning out my craft bins and I found these. And I think this color right here is actually absolutely perfect. So I'm going to add just a little bit of that into it. And I low-key feel like in the swatch, the glitter is just like kind of too sparse. So I'm actually gonna put a bunch more of this glitter, like as much as I can fit, which is not that much. Actually, it's quite a bit. All right, let's give this one another go. Oh yeah, I think that is a lot better. That color is definitely much more accurate to the color in the picture. Making this custom acrylic has got me very, very excited for the Halloween custom acrylic video that I have planned. So yes, that will be coming. It's written down in my planner and everything. Don't worry. Here's the before and here is the after. I definitely think that that is like way better. Okay, so these nails are going to be long square. And I think that these Beetles long square that I've used many times before will work perfectly. So I actually went ahead and sized all of those out already, a little bit bigger than usual to compensate for the extra room for the acrylic that's going to go underneath because I am going to be using the Lazy Girl method. I also went ahead and applied the Jello peel off base coat on top of my hard gel layer and top coat like I did for the previous set. So I'm going to be using this paw stand to hold the tips while I work on them. Just makes it a lot easier not to get my hands super dirty. And before I can start applying the acrylic, I'm going to prep it with the acid-free primer. I rarely, if ever, actually prep things with like a sanding band or my e-file ever. I just always use the acid-free primer. It's just so much easier and cleaner in my opinion. And now I'm just gonna start applying the acrylic, starting at the top tip and working my way down to the nail bed area, making sure not to use too much acrylic because we don't want it to be super bulky under there. I'm gonna pause before I apply the acrylic down at the nail bed area because once I apply it to the nail bed area, I'm gonna have to stick it on my nail right away. I actually ended up putting like a really thin layer of glitter down at the nail bed area, and I've started liking to do this before I put like the real thick bead on there that's going to attach the tip to my nail, because sometimes the acrylic will start like squeezing out and then it's just like left with a little empty area where you can see my nail bed, and I hate that. So like putting a really thin layer before putting it on my nail, it's gonna help there not be any areas of my actual nail peeking out. Like I mentioned, I do have the peel off base coat on here. I've had a little bit of trouble in the past trying to put acrylic on top of my peel off base gel. So I'm actually going to buff it off a tiny bit, like really gently, just to scratch up the surface a little bit. Nothing too crazy because I don't want the base to actually peel off. I just want it to be roughed up enough that the acrylic kind of has something to grab onto instead of like the smooth surface of the gel, because you wouldn't usually use a gel base coat when doing acrylic. I'm just using this one because I want to be able to peel these off afterwards. And then I'm gonna wipe that off with some isopropyl alcohol to get rid of the dust and see how it's like more matte than shiny now. That's what we want. So I'm going to apply the final bead down here and just pop this off and onto my nail. Make sure it's fully straight before it fully sets, and you can try to clean it up a little bit before it fully sets, like the cuticle area, the sidewalls. Boom! And that actually set up really quick because it's pretty warm in here and acrylic tends to set faster when it's warm, but I think that looks so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same process to put on the rest of these tips, and I'm going to be listening to a lecture for my class while I do so because I started school and I was really trying to get this video out before I started uni again, but I failed, so here we are. I'm watching a lecture while doing my nails. It's all good. If you're wondering, it's a cognitive science, data science class. It's like an intro to data science class, which is not something that I'm interested in going into, but being a cognitive science major, they kind of make you sample a little bit of everything that cognitive science envelops. So I'm really not looking forward to this class because it includes like coding and math, which are things I am not good at. So pray for me. I'm also going to start filming Halloween videos, which I'm really excited for, and I have so many that I want to film, and I'm really worried that I'm not going to get to film as many as I want to because of my classes, but I'm gonna try really hard to balance everything well. I'm feeling so much better now. Finally got my medication figured out and I'm feeling so much better. I'm not like questioning every single part of my life anymore. I hope that they're like jelly enough for what this person was thinking. Somehow I managed to put on the pinky one like super crooked. I don't know if you guys can tell how crooked it looks, but then if you look at it like this, it's not crooked. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can fix it in filing. I'm gonna go ahead and file now really quick, just clean everything up, and I'm gonna do that off camera because we've got a lot to do and this video is already gonna be really long. So let's go. Okay, I've got them all filed and buffed and they look so much cleaner now. So with the base down, it's time to get into the nail art. And I know that y'all are very excited about these two guys, so we're gonna do that last. So since I'm going to be painting on a lot of lily pads and stuff, I want to make sure that the surface is super uber smooth. So I'm gonna start with this thick base gel from Nail Couture. I'm just gonna put a nice coat of that on all of them. Wow, look how pretty it looks with like the glossy base coat over it. Amazing.
Be cool.
And now that that's all cured, I'm gonna wipe it off with some isopropyl alcohol to get rid of the sticky layer. Oh, also, before I forget, so most of the nails have lily pads drawn on them. So I'm gonna start by drawing the lily pads. So once again, I'm gonna get out my liner gels. Obviously, we're gonna need the dark green and the light green. Looking at the picture now, I think that this light green is going to be too light for anything. Although actually, I might add it into this one. Let's see what these colors look like. because I know I need like a lighter green and then like an even darker green. I think this will work for the dark green. So for the lighter green, which is going to be like most of the lily pad, I'm just going to mix a little bit of the lighter green into the darker green. Kind of feel almost like that green is a little too light to show up very well on these nails. And one of you guys was telling me that to dull down the colors, I should actually use like the complementary color of that color. Oh, should I be using red? I think I should use red. So I am going to add a tiny bit of red into this, like a teensy tiny bit, just to try to make the color a little overall like darker. Actually, now I feel like that's a good color for the dark green, like for the little veining on the leaves. So that'll be our dark green. So let me try to mix up the light green again without making it too dark. I think that color should work, hopefully. So I'm just gonna go in with my little liner brush. Not one that's too long, because I find that liner brushes that are really long work better for doing like straight lines. And since there's all of the lines in a lily pad, it's like a lily pad is a circle, so no straight lines. I think that it is going to be really hard to see on top of the blue background, kinda. These colors are opaque enough where I shouldn't really need to go in with a white base before the color, but I don't know, we might need to for these lily pads because they're not really showing up very well. Yeah, I do think that I'm going to redo that with a white base first because I think it'll just show up a lot better, hopefully. Because yeah, it's really hard. I think it might be because the blue in the drawing is a little bit lighter, maybe? I don't know. So I'm just gonna go in and block out all of the lily pad shapes with white first. Thank God lily pads are not hard shapes to draw. They're basically just circles with a little tiny V cut out of them. Sort of like, I don't know, like a pizza slice cut out of a pizza. So it really shouldn't be too much effort to go in with white first, and I think it'll be worth it. Anyway, I was really trying to get this video posted before October because I wanted like the entire month of October to just be like dedicated to spooky stuff. I feel like I don't do as many like spooky themed sets nowadays, but like spooky things will always have a special place in my heart. But yeah, I wanted like October to be just like dedicated to spooky season, but I feel like this video is probably going to be getting uploaded at the very beginning of October because I mean, it would literally be like a miracle if I was able to upload this on like September 30th. I've been like trying to like give myself time to just like, I don't know, like do things that aren't necessarily like super productive. Like just time for myself, which should be productive because everyone needs time for themselves. But yesterday I had plans to go biking with Kevin. If you're new here, is my boyfriend. I had plans to go biking with him around, it's not really a lake. It's kind of just like a man-made reservoir with like a trail around it, but we call it a lake. It looks like a lake. There's ducks, so it's a lake. We had plans to go biking around there at like 3 p.m. But then my video ended up taking me so much longer to film, which, what's new? So we ended up not getting there until like 6. And the sun started going down so much earlier than we expected. At one point we were just like biking in the dark and there were like no streetlights or anything. And like biking around a lake in the dark and like looking at the water and all like the reflections on it was reminding me so much of Friday the 13th. Super, super random. Yeah, I also just like loved it so much because it was so creepy and I was borderline scared, but I was like more having fun than scared. You know what I'm saying? So I really want to make time to do things like that more often, you know? I think it's important. So there's all the lily pads like stenciled out in white. Now let's see if this green that I mixed up is going to look better over the white or if I'm just gonna have to find a different green. I don't know why, I just like really don't like it. I'm gonna see if I have any other like green gels. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm gonna go search through my mess of gel polishes. Okay, that took so much trial and error, but I think I'm finally happy with this color. Even though it is like a bit splotchy and patchy, I think this is what I'm gonna go with. So I went ahead and did this one just to make sure I liked it. But let me show you how I did that. So it's first one layer of the light green liner gel, not mixed with anything, just straight from the pot, the light green liner gel. And And for some reason, I just felt like that is way too light still compared to the drawing. If I wasn't trying to go off the drawing, I think I might just leave it with this light green, but it's just not accurate. So in order to get it a little bit darker, I found this green. It's a solid canned rubber gel, I guess, but it's like a jelly muted earthy green tone. So I added a layer of that on top of the cured light green layer, and I think that helps like kind of darken the tone a little bit without completely making the leaf super dark and blend directly into the blue. I think that color is as close as I'm gonna get today without like spending forever mixing a bunch of colors. So I'm just gonna do that for all of the rest of the lily pads now. The splotchiness of the green is definitely going to bother me for sure, but I think once I add like the water lilies and the frogs and stuff, it's not gonna really be too noticeable. Also, I was kind of worried looking at the green in comparison to the white lily pads. You can obviously see the details of the white lily pad outlines a lot better than when they're green, but that's just purely because of the contrast between the white and the blue is a lot more noticeable than the contrast between the green and the blue. So I was a little disappointed about that. I was getting overwhelmed because I just like didn't know what to do, so I decided to take a break and go for a walk with my dog Dexter, and I was looking at them in the sun and I realized that it's actually not that bad. In the sun it actually looks really nice. So yeah. When I was doing the light green, I ended up trying to cure multiple of them like at once with my flash curing lamp, which was definitely a mistake because the light definitely wasn't concentrated enough on each of the lily pads and it started wrinkling kind of bad. So I'm hoping that you're not going to be able to tell with the dark green on top. If I flash cure them each like on their own with the light like purely concentrated on the one lily pad, it never wrinkles. And I never get wrinkling, so I think it's because I did multiple at once. Pretty sure. Looking at everything now, it's coming together pretty nicely, I think. So it's time to add the little like details on the lily pads, and for this I am going to take out my very long thin liner brush because straight lines, and I'm going to use this dark green that I mixed up before. I think that'll work really well. I really don't want to have to find another green, so I hope it works really well. And I'm just going to speed through this. I'm probably going to do a lot of it off camera because straight lines kind of hard to do, so gonna need to be really close to my face, and also it's just the same thing over and over again, so like yeah. I think the reason that these videos take me so long, I mean I've only ever done it once before, but it also took a really long time when I did that one. I keep looking back and forth at the drawing and then at my nail, and I'm like, oh no, that's not exactly the same, it needs to be different, and I just keep like redoing stuff, and I think at some point I just need to realize that sometimes perfection is not an option. I just gotta take what I got and move forward. Probably get a lot more done that way and a lot less overwhelmed, that's for sure.
Why does it sound like I feel like a stranger? It's like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head.
It's actually getting pretty late and I need to go drop off an Amazon return at Kohl's before they close because I think it's like the last day that I have to drop it off. So I really need to go do that. So I'm just putting a base coat on top of all of the nails that I did like the lily pads on because I don't want them to get chipped or anything like while I'm out and about. And I don't really want to put a top coat on because I don't want to risk any nail art that I do on top of the top coat to peel off. I'm just going to put another layer of thick base coat and wipe off the tacky layer. I'm back. So let's do the little lily flowers now, the little water lilies. Oh, they're called the lotus flowers. They're called lotus flowers. Okay, so In the drawing, they said that the lotus flowers can be painted or 3D, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and paint them because sculpting lotus flowers just sounds like I don't want to do that right now. Instead, I think I'm going to make the lotus flowers with this canvas mini set of like oil painting gels that you guys really liked in my last Sweetie Nail Supply haul and said I should use more, and I totally agree. So let's use them right now. So I'm gonna start with the ring finger lotus. So I'm just gonna wipe it off with some isopropyl alcohol, get rid of dirt or whatever that could be on there from being out and about. And I think I'm actually gonna start by putting my glossy top coat on. I think it'll look cool if like the lotus flowers are just matte, like the painting gels. Now that we have the top coat on there, I can put the canvas gels on top and I can leave it without a top coat, and then I won't have to like top coat around the canvas gels, and it'll just be a lot easier this way. So real quick, I'm going to mix up a lighter pink shade and a darker pink shade for the lotus flower. I actually think that I matched the colors pretty well, if I do say so myself, because they were a little bit like purple tinted, I noticed. So I just added way more purple to the one in the center because it looked more purple to me. And I'm gonna try to draw my little lotus flower. I love this liner brush that I'm using right now. I've been using it for a lot of things recently. I'll have it linked down below. It's like this shorter but like kind of a little bit thicker liner brush, and I really like that it's a bit thicker than the usual shorter liner brushes that I get, because I feel like if I need a shorter brush, I'm doing things that are like require a little bit of a thicker brush, if you know what I'm saying. You might not know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm saying.
It's like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head. Starting to think you might know me better than all of my friends. We still smile when we fight.
I feel like it's a lot harder to actually see the differences in the two color when it's like on my nail and the two colors like on top of each other. So I think I need to add a little tiny bit of like purple just to the very center. And in the drawing, they have like little purple dots in the center if you look very closely. So I think I'll just try to do that. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like everything just kind of gets blended into each other and I can't even like see what's happening anymore. You know what? I think that that's pretty cute. I think we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna give that a full cure. And I'm gonna give it a wipe with some isopropyl alcohol because those canvas mini gels, they do have like a layer of stickiness to them or something. And once it's dried, that is what it looks like. And I actually think that that is really cute. So I don't think I'm gonna top coat it. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna do the same thing for the lotus on my thumb. On the thumb, there's actually supposed to be like the 3D squiggles with the 3D sculpting gel, so like the clear zigzag gel that I have. And they also noted that I should add chrome to them if possible, which is actually amazing because I've been wanting to try adding chrome on top of this zigzag gel without putting a top coat because it is non-wipe. So I should be able to just like really easily add a chrome on top of it. So I'm gonna do that first before I go in with the top coat over the whole nail, because if I go in with the top coat over the whole nail and then do this, it's gonna be really hard to only apply chrome to the squiggles. It's just going to stick to wherever there's a top coat. And I'm going to use my liner brush to add the squiggles because I feel like I can control this gel a lot better with a separate brush. The really nice thing about the zigzag gel too is that it doesn't level out quickly at all. So you kind of don't have to be like rushing against time to get whatever you're doing to be like perfect. You can kind of take your time with it because it takes a really long time to start actually like leveling out, which is one of the reasons I like it so very much. So So I gave it a full 60-second cure, and hopefully they look good, because I honestly can't really tell because it's just like, it just blends into the glittery stuff. We're gonna put some chrome on it now. And I have this new chrome from Vetsy. It's the Moonlight Nail Chrome. And just like from what I can tell, it looks so pretty. And I think it's gonna be perfect for like this pond aesthetic, if you know what I'm saying. But wow, look how pretty that is. That is gonna look so nice. Okay, so if I understand correctly, since this is non-wipe, I should be able to just put it on without wiping it or putting a top coat or anything. So let's try, I guess. Ooh, oh wait, that's going on so well. That is going on so nicely. Wow. I freaking love zigzag gel so much. Wow. Look, it's like it went on the zigzag gel and it like didn't stick on the rest of the nail at all. Because of the rest of the nail just has a base coat on, which I already like wiped the tacky layer off and stuff. Dude, that's crazy. I am so impressed with this zigzag gel stuff. Gonna dust it off. That is so perfect. What? I'm so excited about this because I see so many nail designs that have like really cool 3D chrome nail art, but I never feel like going through all of the trouble of like just top coating the 3D nail art that I did and not top coating anything else, because that's usually what you have to do to put on chrome. If the gel you're using has a wipe layer, which usually it does unless it's a like non-wipe top coat. Wow, this zigzag gel is going to make it so much easier. Wow, that is so pretty. I love that. Just gonna dust all of the excess powder off. I'm actually gonna take out some of this top coat and put it on my palette because I don't want to risk getting the entire bottle full of chrome, since I am also going to top coat all of the chrome. So since that worked so well for the thumb, I'm just gonna quickly do the same exact thing on the pinky, but this time we are doing 3 squiggles. And I think it should be really, really easy. I'm actually gonna try squeezing it directly from the tube this time, since it is a little bit harder to get like thick squiggles when you use a liner brush. So we'll see if I can get it right, just like directly from the tube. I ended up redoing the bottom 2 with my liner brush because it was just like a lot easier to get them looking more accurate to what the picture had with the liner brush, because again I just had like way more control, because it's like really hard to control the gel when you're like squeezing it out of the tube. There's like no really pausing, you just gotta go. Let's rub on the powder now. It's really hard for me to tell like where I've got the powder and where I haven't got the powder, but I'm gonna try my best.
Starting to think you might know me better than all of my friends. We still smile when we fight, and when I cry there's no way.
Dust away the excess and top coat. I'm just gonna quickly paint another lotus on my thumb, on that little leaf, lily pad, whatever you call it. Now for the part that everyone's been waiting for, sculpting the little frogs who are in love. That is so cute. So I've got out my sculpting gels. I keep all my sculpting gels in this little drawer. It's like one of the few things that I actually have properly organized out of my nail supplies. I really hope that this green is like the correct color and that I don't have to mix up a green, because I really don't want to. That green is way too bright. All right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to mix up a green. So maybe I guess just adding a smidgen of red to the green should work. And then I'm gonna need the red for the heart anyway, so perfect. I'm gonna do all the sculpting on top of my like disposable palette, which is basically just transparent sticky notes. If you're looking for these, that's what they're called, transparent sticky notes. But I see a lot of Korean nail artists using them as disposable palettes, so that's what I do. And actually, I don't feel like using the little finger gloves, so I'm just gonna grab a regular glove really quick so I can actually mold this stuff with my fingertips. Because since it is gel, you really don't want to be touching it with your like bare skin, because contact dermatitis, you know what I'm saying? So I've got my glove on. All right, I'm gonna start by mixing the green and the red together to try to get this color of the frog. If I really cannot get it, I'm just gonna end up painting the frog with a different green to get the color, because I just do not feel like mixing colors forever right now, to be honest with you. So once I can no longer see any traces of red in there, I think it is perfect and ready to go. And it's definitely a better frog color than this like neon fluorescent green one. I hope I made enough, because we're gonna have to do 2 frogs. So I'm just gonna mix up a little bit more real quick. Okay, that amount should be perfect. Also, this looks like a perfect color to make Pickle Rick. And now I have to do a Rick and Morty set. I think I've been saying I'm gonna do a Rick and Morty set since I started this YouTube channel. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to chop this into 3 parts. So 1/3 will be for one frog body. The second third will be for the other frog body. And then this last third is going to be for all the little details like the eyes and the little tiny arms and feet and stuff. So I'm just gonna wipe off the 2 nails that I'm gonna be working on, because I'm going to sculpt them kind of like directly onto the nails. I think that will be easiest so that they like fit the curvature. The bodies of the frogs are almost like a kind of like a soft triangle shape. So I'm gonna make this into a circle first, like a little sphere. And I'm gonna use this little tool to like make the top a little bit narrower. And I'm gonna place it on the lily pad. Oh no, it's sticking to my glove. No. There. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's a good positioning, because they said to have the frogs facing each other, but I feel like if they're just like directly like both facing this way, you're not going to be able to see them like when I put my nails like this. And I want to be able to like see the frogs' faces. This is like a perfect spot for the little guy. This stuff is like really soft at the moment because of how much I was playing around with it and like rolling it between my fingers. It's honestly really hard to manipulate it when it's like this sticky. You have to be like really gentle. And then it's honestly like leveling out and like smoothing out really fast, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's not good if you need it to stay in that position. All right, I fully cured it on like that, and I actually think that that's gonna be perfect. So before I move on to the other features, I'm actually just going to magically repeat the same thing on the other side. Perfect. So on to sculpting the little eyes, which is just gonna be 2 little round circles for each of them, so it shouldn't be too hard. Every time I need equal parts, I like to roll it out into like a little sausage and then cut the sausage in half. And then that way I should have 2 equal parts. And then I can just roll each of them into a little ball. And you're left with 2 equal little eyeballs. So you don't have to like guess about how much you're using. I'm gonna put those on. Oh, I might have made them even like too big. Okay, I made it a little bit smaller and I think that's perfect. Like I need it to stick to the body, please. Why do this? So once I'm happy with it, I am going to immediately flash cure it. And I flash cure it with my hand as the background so that it doesn't cure anything else on my table. And then I'm gonna put on the other little eye. I think it'll look a lot better and a lot more like a frog when I paint the eyes on and like the face and stuff. But right now, really just gotta trust the process. So I did little eyes on the second frog and I think that I did them smaller, but it's okay. You know what? All frogs are not the same, okay? I'm actually going to paint on the little eyes and face before I go in and do the hands and the heart and stuff, because I'm afraid that if I go in and do the hands and stuff, I'm definitely not gonna leave enough room for the face. So I think I need to do the face first so that I can properly proportion the arms and little like feet and stuff. So obviously that happened mostly off camera. I don't know if I've ever done something so precise that like holding it close to my face, my heartbeat was getting in the way and like making my hand shake. I could like hear my heartbeat in my head. It took like, not even joking you, like an hour and 20 minutes just to get those faces right. And I don't even like them. I feel like they're so derpy. I just cannot work on them anymore. I was like weirdly starting to feel sick working on them for so long. So we're moving on. Let's finish these frogs up once and for all. I'm just gonna grab out a really small piece of the red to sculpt a tiny little heart If I can get it to stick, it really shouldn't be that hard.
Room for some kind of comfort I never had until I met you. First time in life, feel like it could all be good.
It's definitely off center a little bit, but I guess that just kind of goes with the derpiness of it. So I'm gonna cure that. And now I'm just gonna add 4 really simple little spheres for the arms and the legs. And I'm gonna do the same on the other frog as well.
Love for the last time. 'Cause I want stability and more life. You're by my side. Fall in love for the last time. 'Cause I want stability and more life. You're by my side.
Oh my goodness, my hands are actually like wrinkly from being in the gloves and like my hands sweating for so long. Anyway, our little love struck frogs are finished and I actually think they look really cute even though they look a little bit derpy. I don't know if I like completed the mission of having them face each other very well, but if my nails are like this, you know, it kind of looks like they're tilted towards each other, if you know what I mean. Let's top coat these. I can't wait to see what the froggy's gonna look like top coated.
Why does the sunlight feel like a stranger? It's like
I think that's pretty cute. I think it's pretty cute. I've honestly been working on like this set in particular, but also like this video for so long, like just doing the nails, that it like feels wrong to be finished with it. Do you ever have that feeling? Like the only other time I felt this feeling was when I used to work at Starbucks and I would have like a 7 or 8 hour shift and I would be like super focused the whole time because it was always super busy since it was a drive-through. And like when the end of my shift came and it was like, okay, time to go home, I was like, it feels wrong leaving. Like I am so happy to be done, but it just feels like wrong in a way. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. It's like bittersweet. It's a bittersweet feeling. It's like I've spent so much time here with you, little froggy nails, but I am so glad to be done. I feel like I just gave birth to a baby. Like that whole entire process was so tiring and the entire time I wanted it to be over. But now that I have them, it was all worth it because I love them so much. They're so cute. So let's roll the end shots and let me show you the comparison pictures of the finished nails next to you guys' drawings. Again, thank you to all of you guys who submitted designs. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that for me. Also, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot and I really appreciate it. I hope that y'all are having the most amazing day, night, week, life. Sleep well if you're going to sleep, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye. Mwah.